once had this amazing quote: "Be who you are and say what you feel, because those that mind don't matter, and those that matter don't mind."
Boom. Here we go, folks. Let's get this off. All right, we are now on episode 7 of GBG. Whew. Going good. Got to be honest with you, kids. This is a good one. I'm excited about this one. Let's just jump right into it. You know, usually I kind of give you guys a little BS, hype you up, but I'm ready. Let's fire this up. All right, under the sports talkers. Been practicing so much, need a little water. First thing I want to talk about that happened recently is the PGA Tour, the Travelers Championship. You know, I'm pretty sure that me and my dad are 2 of the only 5 people on the planet that like watching golf. However, it is a lot of fun, especially if you take a look at it from a different perspective now that there's no fans in the stands or no fans on the sides. So the golfers act more like us. You know, a ball that goes out of bounds goes way out of bounds. A shot that's hit a little bit off goes way off. But what I want to talk about was Dustin Johnson, who won yesterday at 20 under par, had a couple of shots where you just kind of look at it and go, whoa, that's something I would have done. But at the same time, you know, where he takes a drive, goes way off to the left or way off to the right or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, what makes me appreciate the sport so much from the professional level is coming back to winning at 20 under par. 20 under par is 5 under par for 4 straight days, or averaging a 67 each day. That's amazing, especially when he was on the back 9 yesterday and hit the ball so far off to the side that he was closer to train tracks than he was to the fairway. But he rebounded, got a par on that hole, and was back at it. So that's one of the things that really makes me appreciate these guys is the idea that they can screw up like the rest of us, but they don't screw up and get an 8 on a hole or a 9 on a hole. They come back and save par. So as far as the PGA is concerned, you guys are doing it right. Good for you. The next thing I wanted to jump into is Major League Baseball. Speaking of organizations that can't get it right. So you come out last week and you say, here we go, we're having a 60-game season. Boom, done. No more negotiation, no more whining from this side and that side like the cliche is. Billionaires arguing with millionaires over how to separate the billions of dollars. 60-game season, here we go. Now, what happens after they make this announcement? Now they're complaining. What happens if we play in a state that won't allow it? What happens if this many guys won't play? What are we going to expand the rosters to? All these different complaints and things coming out right now. Here's the funny thing. You didn't think about this beforehand, baseball? For the love of God, you got to come out with your message and then have all of the basic, questions ready to be answered. You guys are like a parachuter who jumps out of a plane and halfway down, you think to yourself, you know what? Now might be a good time to do that safety check on the parachute. You might want to do it beforehand. For the love of God, you guys, these are simple questions. On a website, when you look at it underneath, it might have an FAQ, frequently asked questions. You might want to prepare yourself for that before you start making blanket announcements. I mean, really, you guys never thought about what's going to happen if a state might not allow your team that's in that state to play? Have a backup plan. These are simple things. The third thing I wanted to get into is in light of the, climate we're living in right now, the state of Mississippi has amazingly, and when I say amazingly, what I mean by this is it's really quick. They're going to eliminate the portion of their flag, their state flag, that includes the Confederate flag in it. Now, if you take a look at the Mississippi flag, the state of Mississippi flag, just so like the upper quadrant of it is the Confederate flag. Now, what's so amazing about this were the people that really got involved and put an end to this. Athletes that play in the state, coaches that coach in the state, athletic directors from the SEC. What makes it so amazing is how quickly it came about. So kudos to the state of Mississippi. Nicely done. If you ever open up a history book, things aren't done this quickly. So the fact that they were able to get this done this quickly is a testament to how passionate people are about this. And to the coaches, the athletes who said, you know what, enough's enough. We got to make something happen. Good for you guys for putting up, a strong united front. You guys are rivalries during the sports seasons that you play in, but you got together for this and you guys are passionate about it. Good for you. I hope that the new flag that they have. Apparently, the only requirement is that it's going to have the phrase "In God We Trust" in there. Good. You know what? Give and take. You want to remove the Confederate flag? Well, you got to have the word God in it. You know what? I say good for you guys. Way to go. So those are my sports talkers of the week. Now, moving on, I want to get into You're Better Than That. Now, this segment of my show deals with someone who is in a position or in a role in life or a career where what they said or did, they should just know better than what they said or did. What I wanted to get into is recently, Cam Newton was just signed by the Patriots for a 1-year contract. Now, you're better than that. And who I'm talking about in this case is any sports writer, any person who has their own podcast, anyone who's ever had a remote sports take in their lives who said, wow, this shocked me. Really? This was literally the most Bill Belichickian thing that's ever been done in the mind of Bill Belichick. 2019, so before last season, everyone's going crazy, draft or picking up free agents, signing them to all this money. And they show a picture of Bill Belichick on a beach, shirt off, umbrella drink in hand, just relaxing, not a care in the world. That's Bill Belichick. So when Cam Newton gets released after they do an independent physical on him, and he's cleared by the by the Panthers and his doctors to say, yeah, he's okay. Bill Belichick just sits back. Everyone's going crazy. Where's he going to go? Where's the best fit? Where's the best fit? It's New England. What was Bill Belichick and the rest of New England doing? They were just waiting for the time to be right. So when was the time right? Well, earlier in the day when the NFL fined the Patriots for $1.3 million and a third-round draft pick for having a camera crew illegally tape some things that happened in a Browns-Bengals game from last year. Wow, now might be a good time to, bury that headline. It's almost as if Bob Kraft and Bill Belichick, before the season starts, or maybe March 1st of every year, maybe they sit down and watch the movie Wag the Dog. If you've never seen the movie, watch the movie Wag the Dog. It's all about hiding bad, corrupt things that are going on in our government by displaying something to distract people's attention. In other words, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Bill Belichick, you know what? I really don't care for you. I think you're kind of a gruff jerk. But for the love of God, I give you credit for what you're doing. You seem to have the timing right on everything. So more power to you. But to all the sports writers and podcasters out there who said, wow, I didn't see this coming. Take a step back. This was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. And Bill Belichick is the one who controls the time. So next thing I wanted to get into, let's get into the moment of Zen. Now, the moment of Zen is something that happens in the sports world where you got to take a step back and say, you know what, they're doing it right, or kudos to them. Something where you can reflect on and maybe take that's in the sports world and implement it in your regular life. Now, what I wanted to talk about today is the NBA. We're on episode 7 of Green Bay Greg, which once again you can find on the RTF Sports Network. You can find on our website of our parent station, twistsportstalk.com. Mike has Mike on the mic. Matt has Benzie's Bit. I got Green Bay Greg. You can find all that stuff. You can find all those shows on all those networks. YouTube. You can probably watch me live on Facebook if you feel like it. I'm on there right now. So, moment of Zen. I talk about how the NBA has been doing things right for the past few months since the whole COVID thing happened. I mean, let's be honest. When Rudy Gobert was tested positive for COVID-19 back on that Wednesday, Wednesday, March 11th, in the beginning, which put a halt to pretty much sports as we know it, they've pretty much been doing everything right. Now, 2 other things that they just did right or just announced that's right that I want to give them a lot of kudos for, and it's stuff that we can implement in our daily lives. Number 1 is transparency. The NBA knows and they realize they've heard all the chatter. Over the past few years, there's been a big there's been, if you're a season ticket holder, or if you want to buy a 10-game package of your favorite team or 20-game package of your favorite team in the NBA, you know that there's premium games. If you want to buy tickets for a game that LeBron is in, or back in the day, Kobe and Shaq. Well, you had to either buy so many other tickets, which would include some of the dog games, some of the other bottom feeders, or if you want to buy single games, those tickets would cost more than if you were playing against some other scrub team. If you were, let's say, the Timberwolves, and you wanted to buy tickets for 10 years ago, you want to buy tickets to LA with Kobe, well, maybe the Phoenix Suns were also part of that package that you had to do it too, or you were just going to spend more money for that game. You know what? They realized that by doing that, which they had every right to do, it's a free market enterprise. You can charge as much as you want. They realized is as time went on, players were resting. So if you were a San Antonio Spurs fan living in Minnesota and you wanted to watch Tim Duncan, but Greg Popovich gave him the day off, that was your one opportunity. And it was really disheartening, especially when you start bringing up the element of kids. My 14-year-old kid didn't get a chance to see him on the one chance. So the NBA is being really transparent. Now, granted, when we restart the season here in a few weeks, there's not going to be fans in the stands. But the NBA is being very upfront by saying, look, we're going to have a lot of games in a really short amount of time. There's going to be back-to-backs where players don't play. There's going to be teams like Milwaukee, for example, and I just bring them up just because they have such a big lead in the East where no matter what they do, more than likely they're going to be the number one seed. So you're not going to see on TV, you're not going to see Giannis playing 30, 35 minutes a game. You're not, in back-to-backs, if LeBron is playing and they win a game that, they really need in the standings, but then the next night they, maybe he could take a day off. He's not going to play. The thing is players, coaches, the NBA, and they're obviously filtering this to sports writers, are all aware of this, and they're talking about it a month in advance. So people like me or Matt and Mike or any other sports fan don't have to base our schedules around, ooh, that's the game I want to watch. I'm going to not, plan anything on that night. And all of a sudden we get disappointed because our favorite player, our favorite team isn't putting 100% of their best product out on the court. They're being upfront about that, and I give them a lot of credit for that. So kudos to you, NBA, for doing that. Now, the other thing that the NBA is doing is they understand the most important thing out there when it comes to marketing. And that is, good or bad, if you're being talked about, it's building brand awareness. So you had a lot of players who were saying, and there's a lot of WNBA players who are doing this. Mike's talked about it. Matt's talked about it. We've talked about it on Twist, that are contemplating sitting out the season, these shortened seasons, because they want to advocate for whatever social injustice issue they are passionate about. No one is any more important than the other. We have a lot of them out there right now. Not only the Me Too movement or the I can't breathe injustices dealing with race or gender, but there's so many of them out there that people are passionate about. So what does the WNBA do? They say, you know what? We hear you. We understand that you're passionate about this. We understand that this is something that you want us to deal with. So they're right now talking about being able to possibly, put a logo, put a hashtag, put someone's name on the jersey, in an open spot on the jersey. Maybe it's on the back of the jersey or whatever the case is. Now, there was a lot of negative people out there when this first was announced and said, well, no one looks at that because when you watch an NBA game, you know who LeBron is. Or, if you're watching the Milwaukee Bucks, you know who that 7-footer is. That's Giannis. So what? Here's the thing. If LeBron James puts something on his jersey, whether it's hashtag social injustice cause that he's passionate about, or hashtag I can't breathe, or whoever it is that does it, here's the thing. It's going to be talked about. That's the important thing. It doesn't matter if during the game 15 cameras show it, or if LeBron's moving too fast that they can't see it, because it's going to be talked about. And then what's going to happen is after that game, LeBron James is going to auction or have some auction house auction off that jersey that has whatever social injustice issue he's passionate about, and it's going to go get auctioned off. And then whether it brings in $5 or $500,000, what's going to happen in the news the next day? It's going to be talked about. LeBron's hashtag whatever was just sold at auction for X number of dollars. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for exposure. So what happens then? Oh, I want to learn more about that issue. I mean, hashtag me too. just by saying those two words, some people might not know what it is. But what are people going to do? They're going to go in the Twitter box, in the Twitter machine, and type in #MeToo and learn what it's about. It's about, gender equality, about women being sexually assaulted and raped, especially by people in very powerful positions, authoritative positions. So you know what? Good for you guys for doing this, and good for NBA for allowing this. Maybe the NFL can, back off their stance on uniforms and let guys wear whatever type of sneakers or type of cleats they want, which has whatever logo on it they want, because although the fans in the stands and the fans at home might not see it right away, it will be talked about. And that's the important thing. When you have a message, you want your message to be heard. Moving on. Let's go outside the arena. Now, this is what I've been waiting for this show. Something that's been going on in different, now that sports are coming back, talked about a lot, is trash talking. My two best friends in the world are passionate Vikings fans. I, believe it or not, have a tendency to lean towards and cheer for the Green Bay Packers, believe it or not. So what do? We create a podcast twist, The Weekend Sports Talk, where you get two guys from Minnesota and a guy from Wisconsin that just argue about sports. It started about Minnesota versus Green Bay, and it goes into, now it's kind of getting a lot more until football starts, which we'll get back to that, generational stuff. They're more LeBron guys. I'm more of an MJ guy. But it's healthy banter, but it's all about trash talking. Now, here's what I'm going to do, because I am the world's greatest trash talker. I can defend any team and make them sound like the best possible team in front of whatever audience. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer a public service to all my viewers. And once this is shared, I know on the RTF network, they have a lot of trash talking stuff going on. I'm going to offer my services for a small monthly fee, which will fluctuate based on the team. I will offer my services to you and teach you how to trash talk on behalf of your favorite team. Now, when I say it'll fluctuate, if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, look, first thing I'm going to do is ask you why the hell you need my help. You don't need help trash talking on behalf of the Kansas City Chiefs. But if you want it, not going to cost that amount of money, not that much money to, for me to help you out. Now, on the other hand, if you're passionate about the New York Jets or the Cleveland Browns, it's going to be a hefty price. A little bit heftier on the, through my PayPal account, through Venmo, or I'm going to make you take me out to dinner once a month. And I have a healthy appetite. You might want to shy away from that option. Now, there's only two exceptions to this. Two teams I will not help you trash talk for. Number one is the Detroit Lions. Why won't I do it for the Detroit Lions? Look, you're pathetic. I don't even have an imagination that can help you guys out when it comes to trash talking. There's no hope for you. Sorry. And the other one is the Dallas Cowboys. Sorry. I quit drinking several years ago, and with it, when I stopped drinking, I also lost the delusion of being able to be referred to as a Dallas Cowboy fan. You guys are so pathetic and so delusional, I can't even help you. It's pathetic. You guys haven't been relevant in 25 years. For the last couple of years, you've played with an extremely high payroll with an owner who has buckets of money willing to throw it at anybody. You've been in the worst division in football, and you can't even make it to the playoffs. But yet, what do your fan bases do? You trash talk as if you're still America's team. You know who America's team is? Any other team that's relevant. I mean, let's be honest. It's the Green Bay Packers. They're publicly owned. They're the most popular franchise nationwide. But I'd say it's a close argument between the New England Patriots, Pittsburgh Steelers. But you know who's not on that list? The Dallas Cowboys. You guys are so worthless and delusional. It's not even funny anymore. I mean, I feel bad for you. Anyway, so like I said, PayPal, Venmo, dinner out. I'll teach you how to trash talk on behalf of your team. You will be the highlight of any argument, any water cooler, any conversations you get into. There you go. That's my public service for the week. All right, let's go into the GVG Challenge of the Week. This upcoming week, we are going to celebrate the 4th of July. Now, what I'm asking everyone to do on this 4th of July is to celebrate the 4th of July. Celebrate our independence as a country from England, from Great Britain. That's it. We don't have to slam it because there was still slavery. We don't have to slam it because there was still injustices. We are celebrating our independence from England. That is all. Keep in mind that at that time, we were going to war with England because they wanted these 13 colonies and any expansion that happened to be part of an aristocracy. Now, what is an aristocracy? Basically, it's where the king says, you, and you have enough money. You guys can be landowners. And you guys, based on the amount of land you have, can have this many indentured servants, which are people who technically are free if they work on the land for a certain amount of time, and then they're given to be free. They're let to be free men. Slaves, you're getting this many amount of slaves. And you know what America said? We don't want to be governed by someone who's 3,000 miles away, who's taxing us for things that we're producing. So we went to war, little battle called the Revolutionary War, led by some guy named George Washington. So my bottom line is we get caught up a lot, especially in this day and age, about finding problems with things. What was wrong with this? What was wrong with that? Keep in mind, the 4th of July is a holiday to celebrate our independence as 13 individual colonies in the 1770s from England, Great Britain. Other side, start driving to the east. Eventually you'll get there. Might have to swim a little bit, but that's who we were battling. We weren't battling, the South wasn't battling the North. We weren't battling the French. The French were on our side. So all I'm saying is keep it in perspective. There are other days where we can start arguing about what happened in the 1790s, the 1820s, and the 1860s, which led to the Civil War. But for this one day, all we are celebrating is our independence from an aristocracy that wanted to expand into what is now the United States of America. We didn't want to be governed by a king. We wanted to be governed by a government, by a democracy. So that is what it's about. And all I ask of you, when you're grilling your brats and your hot dogs and you're swimming in your pools and you're boating on the lake and you're lighting off fireworks, which, by the way, I find it hilarious that we live in a country that celebrates our independence by blowing up a small piece of it with fireworks. It is what it is. But anyway, so what I ask you on this 4th of July, this upcoming Saturday, is just enjoy the day for what it is. Don't find a reason to bitch about it. You know what, folks? That's all I got. I really appreciate it. Episode 7, I didn't even look at the comments, didn't even care. I had a whole lot to talk about. Hope you enjoyed it. Once again, look for us on the RTS Sports Network, Green Bay Greg, Mike on the Mic, Benzi's Bit, or the parent show, Twist, The Weekend Sports Talk. Also found on YouTube, on Facebook, on the Twitter machine, although they rip on me all the time because I don't know how to use it. That's not too far from the truth. But God bless you all. Have a safe and happy 4th of July.